you mentioned someone cutting you off in traffic. My question is not, does God love me? It's, does God love them?
Mm-hmm. Now, if you're God's face in traffic, people will be looking at you to see the answer.
That's true. That's true. Talk about that for a minute. You mentioned that in the other half of church, you talk about seeing the necessity of the face. And even in the Aaronic blessing, the Lord causes face to shine upon you. This idea the scripture talks about is the face. What is the significance, both theologically and for us spiritually, in understanding the face?
Yeah, that's really, to me, very, very fascinating, because babies develop their identity looking at faces before they can ever understand words. So by the time you have a vocabulary of 50 words, you've pretty much figured out how to interact with other human beings. You'll be about 18 months old. And so the brain is already designed to look at people's face and look, who are the eyes looking at me? Who's glad to be with me? Who shares my distress? And then I'll copy how they act. And all of that is registered on the face. It's the primary means of communication, and it happens much faster than spoken communication. So you and I might, we're giving very long paragraphs in between our comments, right? But that would say we have one exchange that goes on every 2 or 3 minutes. But face-to-face communication runs back and forth 6 times per second. So I actually, since we're watching each other on video cameras, the fact that you nodded right there, the audience can't see it, but or smiled just now, all these things communicate to me much faster than any words ever would what's going on in your mind. And that's how we learn to be human and understand each other. It's through the face.
You talk about the face, you talk about the life model works, you talk about rare leadership. I mean, these are all, I find this particularly fascinating because, as you said, or as we discussed in the pre-show walkthrough, you've given words to stuff and experiences that many people have felt were missing in their world. Why is it then imperative that we understand the face? Why do we understand this life model that is there? Because people have gravitated toward it. Their lives have been changed by it. What is it hitting that we're missing?
Well, what it's hitting is that we're essentially relational beings. The number one characteristic of God that's been passed off to us as far as the brain is concerned is it's relational. It looks for a connection with somebody else with the intention that we would share life with them. And when we do it wrong, we're death-giving to others. And when we do it right, we're life-giving to others. And it's the difference between wisdom and folly. All of those things come back to how am I relating to you? And so the part of the brain that creates our identity and character and responses is all the relational circuits in the brain. Then we have the linguistic and analytical part of the brain. And the problem with that is it's way downstream of all the things that give us our character. So by the time you put beliefs and understanding in there, truths, which are very useful to have, by the way, but they don't really change our character very readily or very easily. It's a very, very slow process of because traffic in the brain is one directional traffic. So if you put, on the other hand, let's put it this way, we're much more changed by who we love than what we believe. And so we're trying to move the Christianity back to where it was about 1,000 years ago, which was primarily about our loves. And so the love of God was more central than our understanding theologically of what he was like. Is he totally other? Is he not? We don't know. We love the God as we look for him in our daily lives, and we practice that with others.